Hello and welcome to my live stream, Ask the Attorney Anything. This is my opportunity that I give all of you guys to come here with me live, and I answer your questions, and I get an opportunity to hear from you and exactly what it is that you are all dealing with, and work together to help you escape from being in a toxic situation with a narcissist, whether it's a divorce situation, a business situation, whatever it is. If you are having to negotiate your way with a narcissistic personality, or even somebody who just has toxic traits, who cares if they've actually even been diagnosed as a narcissist? Because if you're dealing with them, they are toxic, they are horrible, and they cause, as I always say, drama, trauma, and chaos in your life. And learning how to navigate and negotiate that in a way that allows you to shift the dynamic, shift the conversation, and become more powerful, it changes your life. Because once you're able to actually learn the tools on how to deal with them and negotiate with them and communicate with them in a way that's effective, it not only shifts the dynamic with that narcissist or toxic personality in your life, it actually shifts the dynamic in everything in your life. You actually become feeling so much more powerful in every aspect of your life. And, I was just talking to a friend of mine last night who escaped a relationship with a narcissist. And, and she was saying like how much more powerful she feels in every aspect of her life now, and how she actually looks at him and thinks, oh, you don't even, affect me anymore. And by the way, now I know the red flags. Now I know exactly what to look for, and so she was saying she's back out dating again, and she's seeing red flags. She's seeing like the love bombing, from like a mile away. Great. I mean, so yes, it's awful that you have to deal with them, but the tools and the resources that I have and that I offer you will help you in every aspect of your life. So, but first of all, let's get you some step-by-step guidance on how to get out of the relationship that you're in now. So, hi, Miguel. Hi, Linda. Hi, let's see. Ite, I hope I'm saying that right. Says it's good to see you live. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And Tree Marie, thank you. I'd love to know where you are all tuning in from. And, we're getting ready to go through the holidays. And as we all know, narcissists, they like to ruin holidays. You should definitely check out my video on why narcissists like to ruin holidays and what they do about it. And also, I have a video on red flags that you're in a relationship with a narcissist, red flag gifts that they give. So that one has been really, really popular. So you should definitely check that one out too. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, now's a good time to do that, and hit that notification bell. I suspect a lot of you have already done that since you're here and you know that you got the notification that I went live, which is really awesome. Tree Marie says, tuning in from rainy, cold Germany. I love Germany at Christmas time, though. Those Christmas markets are the best. So fun. And I'd love to take your questions. So welcome, all of you. I see Linda Marie from Louisiana, Louise from Ireland. Fantastic. My Home Diaries from Oman. Hi to Oman so far. But yet here we all are, right? It's actually a bonding experience. I've seen people in my Facebook group from literally all over the world. Egypt and South Africa. I mean, it really spans the globe. All of us are dealing with toxic personalities. They say it's 1 in 10. I think it's actually way more than that. And it's horrible. So, all right. So let's see. I'd love to take your questions. I'm just going to be looking over here for a second so I can start to read some of your questions, because that's why you're here. Should I wait for the police to come to a conclusion for malicious communication before filing for a UK non-molestation order? Will this be automatically instated if they are charged? Martin, that is definitely a local conversation. That's something that you need to ask your own attorney. And that is, because there's certain questions that I can't answer because it's really state law or law in your country or jurisdiction driven. So, malicious prosecution, easy for me to say, is a good type of civil action, oftentimes, that you can use to help create leverage, certainly, especially if you're dealing with them in another situation. It's like the type of claim that I like to add, sort of piggyback on as leverage when you're dealing with a narcissist. But as far as when it can actually be filed or initiated or how, all of that actually is going to be driven by the laws wherever it is that you live. So, but certainly I do like to use tort actions. Civil tort actions can always be a great form of leverage. Any kind of civil tort is great to piggyback onto a family law action when you are trying to create leverage. I mean, it's actually a good one to piggyback on for a business action as well. So I just want to make sure that I do say that, because I like those types of actions. Abusive process is another good one. They may be called different things in your area, but if somebody has filed some kind of frivolous claim against you and it ends up being dismissed, then you can use that down the road and say, hey, point finger and say to the judge, this person filed something against me. It turned out to be frivolous. It turned out to be really just for malicious intent, or to use the court system as a sword, or to, harass me in some way. And you want the current judge to notice that, to see what's going on there. It's a great type of claim to sort of piggyback on. But once again, I can't give you actual legal advice here. I can give you thoughts on strategy and how to proceed as far as creating leverage and things like that. So I do like those types of actions. I just can't tell you exactly when would be the best time to do it or how. So definitely consult an attorney in your area for that. Okay, so that was a good question, though. I do like the idea of piggybacking on those types of claims. So let's see. Bliss says, I'm a man, Rebecca. I was a victim of a narc abuse in a workplace. It came to extreme lengths. I'm actually going to be rolling out in 2021 Slay Your Negotiation in business, because I'm increasingly getting many, many more people who are dealing with narcissists in a workplace setting, just like what you were talking about there, Blissness. So I'm sorry to hear what you've been dealing with there. I mean, narcissists are everywhere, not just in relationships. And I myself actually had to deal with a narcissist in a business setting. So I feel your pain when it comes to that. Let's see. So somebody's asking, what is a civil tort? So a civil tort is anything against you as a person. So assault, there can be assault and battery on a criminal level, but it can also be on a civil level. And so it means that you're suing in civil court rather than criminal court. So instead of going for prison or jail or something, which is what a criminal claim would do, a civil claim looks for fines, sanctions, things like that. So any kind of affront against a person can be considered a civil claim. So abusive process, malicious prosecution, intentional infliction of emotional distress is another good one. Libel, slander, defamation, all of those kinds of claims are civil tort claims. Wrongful death is actually a civil tort, as well as personal injury, things like that. So let's see. Somebody's asking, how can I get my husband to move out? God, I need him gone for my sanity, safety, and peace of mind. I totally get that. So as far as getting somebody out of the house, remember, this is a good opportunity for me to remind all of you that the only person that has any power to order somebody to do something is the judge. And so with something like that, unless he does something truly illegal where you can actually, get the police to come and take the person and take them to jail, you need a judge involved. Even if you are trying to get a restraining order, you need a judge involved. If you want exclusive occupancy of the home, you need a judge involved. And so the only way that you can get the judge involved is if you have an open matter. In your case, probably a divorce. And then within that case, you file your motion and you ask the judge. So you file a motion or a request for order or whatever it's called in your particular area. And then you set it for a hearing in front of the judge and you plead your case and you say why you want him out of the house, and make sure you have your case law and your statutes and all of that ready to go with your arguments. And then the judge makes a decision. So, or you can ask, go for a restraining order. But again, you're going to need to make sure that you pass muster under the statute. One of my very first bosses when I was a newbie little lawyer, I was still in law school and I was clerking for an appellate attorney, an attorney who specialized in appeals. The first thing she told me was, Rebecca, you always start with the statute. So I give you that information as well. So, make sure that whatever it is that you're arguing, if you're arguing on your own, you're representing yourself, or if your lawyer is helping you, that you always make sure that you pass muster under the statute. You want to make sure that every single element of that statute is satisfied when you go to make your arguments in court. Otherwise, if you try to go get a restraining order and you don't get it, then your narcissist will feel empowered, emboldened, and so it'll actually backfire against you. So I always tell people, when you go to get a restraining order, make sure that you are really pretty sure that you're going to be able to get it. Otherwise, it'll blow up in your face. So, all right. So Charlotte's asking, did you discover the study of narcissism through your law practice? I started to hear a lot about narcissists in my law practice probably in the last 5 years or so, but it really wasn't until I had to deal with a couple of narcissists in my own life, one in a business setting and one in an extended family setting, that I really started picking up books and started learning about it. And I just was self-taught. I read pretty much every single book I could on the matter. I've interviewed psychologists, psychiatrists, I've talked to people. And what I did was I started actually taking what I learned about negotiation, which I've written a best-selling book on negotiation, which came out last year. And I applied it to what I learned about narcissism. And that's when I really started seeing movement for my clients in their cases. Because if you don't understand narcissism, which 99.9% of lawyers do not, then you're going to end up, even if you have a good lawyer, years and years down the road, your case will still be going and you're going to be spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're just going to be annoyed as crap that nothing's happening and that the other person is just continuing to get away with all of their behavior. And I know you know that that's true. A lot of you who are here on this call with me know that that's true. And so the only way you're going to actually see movement is to understand the concepts of narcissism, what actually drives them, what actually motivates them, what actually incentivizes them, and then make sure that you create a strategy and leverage around that so that you can actually start to see movement in your negotiations. It's the only way. It's the only way. So that's what I'm here. I learned it. I figured it out. And that's why I'm here teaching it all to you. All right. So let's see. Jay Cohen is asking me, what false allegation statute is any good to you? So that's something, when you're asking me about specific statutes, that's something you have to look at in your particular state, country, or jurisdiction, because every single area has different ones. But certainly you can talk to an attorney and they can let you know, or you can certainly always research it yourself as well. All the laws and statutes and everything are all online nowadays. Findlaw.com is a good place to look. If you're in this country, I'm not sure about other countries, but in the United States, findlaw.com actually has a lot of information there. All the case law, all the statutes are right there. So, yes. So, let's see. I'm going to try to answer another one. Let's see. Okay, somebody's asking about money that's owed. Should I sue and wake up the beast? This is a question from Mariah, I think. After 3 years of legal abuse by the narc abuse stopped, there's a decree has to do, should I sue and wake up the beast? That's really kind of up to you. Some people just decide, like, why continue to give them narcissistic supply? And if they've moved on to a new source of supply, then maybe let them stay over there, wherever they are. Wish them well, but over there, that's what I normally say. Like, but if it's a lot of money and it's worth it to you to wake up the beast, then that's a decision you have to make, right? So, my husband made me sign a separation agreement. He got off the internet stating I got nothing because I left him. And he said, I'm worth nothing. So that's from Lisa Decker. If you want to get that agreement set aside, you'll probably have to file something with the court asking for it to be set aside. And then make sure that you do your research on the reasons why agreements can be set aside. So in general, contracts can be set aside for things such as duress, coercion, unconscionability, impossibility, impracticability, maybe that you were drunk or something like that. You didn't know what you were signing, those kinds of things. So those are the general ways that contracts can be set aside. As far as agreements between married couples, there are sometimes other reasons that agreements can be set aside. Without financial disclosure, things like that. But that, again, is something that you will have to look at in your particular state, country, or jurisdiction to see what the specifics are around getting an agreement set aside in your particular area. Okay, so let me see. Florin says, hi from Romania. You've helped me a lot. I am so glad that all of you were here, and that I'm able to answer your questions. I also do answer questions in my webinar. I do highly recommend that all of you come and take my webinar, which is the 3 must-have secrets to communicating with a narcissist. It is a super powerful webinar. I always have incredible people there who ask amazing questions. So I do recommend that. If you haven't gotten my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet, I do highly recommend that you at least start with that. It's 14 or 15 pages. It's literally an ebook. It's free. And you can get that at winmynegotiation.com. You can also join my free private Facebook group, which is Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. Just look that up on Facebook, and you're welcome to join us there. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, now's a great time to do that. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, and make sure that you like this video and you share it and you drop me a comment and let me know that you were here. I love to see where you were all from, and I love to connect with all of you. It is my honor and pleasure to serve you. I'm absolutely blown away at how quickly my channel has grown and my community has grown. It just means that there are so many of you out there who are dealing with narcissists, who are negotiating with narcissists, who are feeling paralyzed about what to say, what to do, and how to proceed. And that's where I come in. I know exactly how to help you. I know exactly how to deal with this toxic personality. And it is my honor to be, I consider myself a conduit from the universe, bringing my information to you so that you can escape and create the life that you deserve. So that's what I do here. I'm so glad that I can help you. And I wish all of you a beautiful and happy holiday. I know it's a crazy time, but I really, from the bottom of my heart, want you to have that light, have that joy, feel that strength, feel that courage. So thank you all for joining me on this edition of Ask the Attorney Anything. I'm Rebecca Zung. As always, I say to you, today is a great day to start negotiating your best life. So let's start today. Thank you so much for joining me.